Finally, as promised, we are visiting Skukuza today, the largest rest camp in the Kruger National Park, as well as the one with the most amenities and an amazing concentration of animals. Skukuza began as the base camp for James Stevenson Hamilton, first warden of what was then the Sabi Reserve, a protected area of 4,000 square miles established in 1898. Hamilton was appointed in 1902, and by 1923, the South African Railway stopped at his camp for the night as part of a rail tour. At the stop, passengers from the train could take guided excursions to look for wildlife. The Sabi and Shingwedzi game reserves were merged in 1926 to form Kruger National Park. After that, tourist huts were built and roads for autos were begun in earnest. It was quite an adventure for those early tourists. In 1936, Hamilton's camp, which had been known as Sabi Bridge, was officially changed to Skukuza, a Tsonga people's name for Hamilton. By 1938, over 38,000 tourists a year visited Kruger, and the number kept climbing. Today, Skukuza has grown into a small town that not only has accommodations, camping, restaurants, and its shop, but also 2 hotels, a conference center, education complex, and a day spa, among other facilities. It feels very civilized, except for the thieving baboons and the occasional deadly snake, of course. So let's go inside. The entrance gate is wonderful, with a picturesque look to it, made more dramatic by the bats roosting in its rafters. The first place we stopped at was the gas station to top off our tank. There had been a mechanic at Skukuza, but not when we visited. Maybe in the future they'll have one again. They did have an open car wash, though. Then we were off to register and pick up our key. At the reception area, there's also a post office, a car rental office, and a bank with ATMs. The bank is closed after 4 p.m. and on Sundays. The ATMs can be out of cash or out of service. And since Skukuza is one of the only 2 rest camps with ATMs in the park, it's wise to bring cash into the Kruger with you. You'll need it for at least gas stations, which mostly only take cash, and when there's a power failure and your cards can't be used. We went inside to sign in and confirm our ranger-guided tours at the camp. We received our key and also a map of the rest camp. Outside on the wall is a relief sculpture of the men considered the founding fathers of Kruger National Park. Piet Grobler, Minister of Lands who introduced the National Parks Act in 1926, President Paul Kruger, the overall force behind establishing Kruger National Park, and our old friend James Stevenson Hamilton, the first warden of the park. Not far from the reception is the Papemvis Clock Tower, dedicated to Herbert Boshoff Papentas, a representative to the South African Parliament. He worked to nationalize the parks of South Africa and was the founding board member of Kruger National Park and worked for improvements to the park until his death. When we visited the clock, it only told the correct time twice a day, but they are repairing it, so it should be accurate soon. Now we're off to get groceries at the camp shop before we head for our accommodations. The camp, as you can see, is well landscaped and full of lush foliage, even in the dry season. There's the clock tower again. On the right is the Environmental Education Complex. On the left is the Conference Center. It was this parking lot that we saw baboons on top of people's cars. And here's the camp shop. It's the biggest in the park, I think. And even has slush puppy frozen drinks. Now that's luxury. Sorry about the nauseating pace we are exploring the shop. Near the camp store is the James Hamilton Memorial Library and Museum. The museum covers the history of the park and its area. This is that skin of the lion that attempted to kill the ranger Harry Woolhooter in 1902. And there's the knife Harry killed it with. We tell that story in our video Tale of a Lion Attack, plus exploring the H10 road. Here's two of its claws, I think, given to the doctor who treated Woolhooter. Here's some of Warden Hamilton's gear and belongings, including a portrait painted by his wife. The Rangers of Kruger and their uniform. The history of radio tracking animals. Thulamela, the lost city of the north, which we have a video on. Then there's the actual library, which contains books old and new on many topics, but especially, of course, on Africa. These books can either be read here in the library or borrowed and taken back to your tent or hut and read at your leisure. Okay, now we're off to go to our hut. It was not far off from the camp shop, and luckily among the accommodations with a view of the Sabi River. Here's our bungalow hut, with our rented truck parked next to it. And here was our view. It was a great place with an outdoor patio and kitchen. We even had a TV, which we didn't watch. Here's the toilet with shower. There was a ceiling fan and air conditioning. Now onto our patio with the monkey-proof refrigerator, hot plates, sink, plus dishes and silverware. There was a trail along the fence line here, with benches now and again for relaxing and viewing the beautiful Sabi River. To the right, the trail leads to a view of the old Sabi River Railroad Bridge, for which the camp was originally named for. It also leads to the Cattle Baron restaurant, which was only a few minutes walking distance from our hut. It was a great restaurant with a beautiful view and ambience, especially at night with all the little lights they put out. They had amazing steaks here and a fantastic lunch buffet. Below the restaurant deck is a river-level viewing area for those who are not eating at the restaurant. Behind the Cattle Baron is a butcher shop and a takeaway food shop, and our favorite, the Milkshake Bar. Skukuza has a second restaurant by the defunct railroad bridge, called Kruger Station. The railroad went through the park on its way to Mozambique until 1973. Then most of the tracks were pulled up, with only the two railroad bridges left to tell the tale, one over the Crocodile River and the other here at Skukuza, and that's where the restaurant is. It's near the campground, which is very large and has many sites, with plenty of trees, 2 laundries, 2 shared ablutions, and 2 shared kitchens. The restaurant is made in the likeness of an old railroad station, where you can dine on railroad cars. It's pretty posh, with delicious meals. We had skewered chicken and custard for dessert. At the front of the dining cars is an old steam engine. and the Kruger 360 Theater. They show a film all around you in this small cinema.
Are you still with me? We're now 300 meters above sea level and climbing. Have a look around. It might not look like the place you consider home, but give it another minute. You're now 100 kilometers above sea level and officially space. Take a moment to let it all sink in before you start your journey back.
It was really fun and unexpected, especially out here in the African bush. Past the cinema, the old railroad bridge has been put to good use. There are refurbished rail cars all along it, made into luxury rooms, and even a pool alongside the tracks. All this, and of course, amazing views in every car. Speaking of pools, there are 5 at the camp. The main one for the rest camp guests is right here in the campground. This is the Kruger Safari Lodge, a hotel which has 128 rooms, including family rooms and luxury suites. It also has its own pool and restaurant. If you continue on to your right, you'll come to the day spa and past that to the medical assistance building. Skukuza Rest Camp has all of this and more for the guests to see, do, and enjoy. But its main feature is its access to abundant wildlife and beautiful landscapes. And this begins right outside the gate. 3 great examples are the 2 nearby bridges and the Lake Panic bird hide. Lake Panic is around 3 miles from Skukuza, less than 12 minutes away. This makes it a good place for watching animals, close to the camp's gate closing time. There's plenty of wildlife to see throughout the day here, and not just birds. Hippos and crocs live here, and other animals come down to drink, both herbivores and carnivores. Because of the many birders that come to Lake Panic, this was the quietest hide we visited. People were deadly serious about the silence, except for the machine gun sounds of the cameras on burst mode. As we were driving back to camp, we ran across this group of Nyala. The bridge over the Sand River is also close to camp. Unlike some other rivers in the Kruger's fall season, the Sand River has more than just sand. Many animals drink here. Here's a hammerkop being harassed by another bird. Hammerkop is Afrikaans for hammerhead. They eat fish and amphibians, shrimp, insects, and even small rodents. And they make gigantic nests, 5 feet across, made from mud and sticks, usually in the fork of a tree, and having a domed roof.
What's the bird that's harassing him? Is that just a swallow?
The ranger and I thought the bird that was attacking the hammerkop was a swallow, but I'm not sure now. Not sure also why it was harassing the hammercock either. Closer still to camp is the Sabi River Low Bridge. This is the Sabi River. It's loaded this year. Oh, at least these are longer here. This is more like it. There's the railroad bridge over there.
Oh, that is so cool. Sleep in that thing.
Yeah. The Skukuza area has lush river vegetation, but it also has nearby hill country and thorn forests, as well as historical sites and monuments. In our next video, we'll explore these and see the abundant wildlife that Skukuza is known for.